Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, subscribe to my channel. We do giveaways, we do videos, we do it all. We are trying to get to 1,000 so we can go live and I can answer some questions for you guys. So, I did put on a new set of nails. These nails are just 100% polished that you just stick right on. Short nails, long nails, acrylic nails, fake nails, toenails. They even work on your toenails. And so you just take it off of the little board that it's on. It's on like this little board like a sticker would come on. And then you place it on the nail, you stick it on, and then you fold it over and you file downwards. And bam, you have beautiful like mermaid nails. So I will put the link in the description box. They are only $5 a pack. And I have just as many that I used right here left over. So I can do a whole nother manicure or I could do my toes. So that's what's awesome about that is you can reseal them and use them again. So these cost me $2.50 because there's a whole nother manicure left over. So I paid $2.50 for mermaid nails because they're $5 a pack. Okay, and they're always buy 8, get 1 free. So make sure you put the 9th one in there because it's the 9th one that's free. All right, chapter 26. This is Chris's prison life. And it said that the night after sentencing, they took Christopher to the Weld County Jail and that he spent 7.5 weeks there. And while he was there, lots of inmates yelled at him and threatened him, and they told him ways to kill himself, and they would scream constantly at him until they finally just gave up because they realized it wasn't bothering him, or they just lost interest. So he said that they might have realized they couldn't get to him, and it stopped. And he feels like if they had been able to get to him, that they definitely would have killed him. And he was on suicide watch while he was there and stripped of everything. He only had a paper gown and a very thin mat on a cement floor, but he was not given a pillow or a blanket or anything like that. He says he was in a state of trauma about what had happened and that it still didn't make any sense. And because of that, he said he could still feel that dark spirit inside of him. And he says that he was not able to remember very much about what had happened during that time. And so he prayed and asked God to remove him from that prison. And he did not want to live in constant fear anymore. He says around the first part of December that the guards got him in the middle of the night and put him in the van and shackled him to a pole inside the van. And then that's when he realized he was being moved to another prison. And there was a Colorado prison that he had heard so much about, and he prayed that that's not where he was being taken, and that he had been told that it was one of the most feared prisons in Colorado. Now, the prison he's talking about, I can't remember the name of it, but it houses El Chapo and like really, really hardcore people like that. And Chris said, sure enough, they pulled right into the prison that he didn't want to go to. And he was terrified and afraid, and that he had told God that if that's where he wanted him, that, you know, he had no right to ask for anything else, that he would deal with it. And he knew that he had a huge price to pay. So if that was what God wanted for him, that's what he would have to deal with. Like he had a choice. And so after a few minutes, he realized they were just stopping there to use the bathroom. See, at least you got checked. And they resumed their trip. And that they drove all night and most of the next day and into the evening. And he had no idea where they were taking him. And then they pulled into the Waupun, Wisconsin. And that it was called the Dodge Correctional Institute. So if anybody wants to write Chris, he's at the Dodge Correctional Institute in Waupun, Wisconsin. And Chris noticed that it was a small town when they were pulling in. And he also noticed when he got to the prison that the guards seemed to be better in Wisconsin. And that he was not treated badly by them. So I guess the guards in Colorado treated him badly. and that the food was tolerable, but sometimes he craves ice cream and pizza. And he also craves Shanann's spaghetti sauce, and he says that she was a good cook. And he realizes how different his life could be had he made different choices, and he thinks about that every day. And when he got to the prison, he was given a handbook, and something in the book gave him a huge reality check. And it was the part that says that if a family member passes away or becomes seriously ill, he is not able to go to the funeral. If the chaplain approves, he will be able to watch a video of the funeral if it's sent in. And he says that this shook him to his core, that he dreads those days, and that he realizes that he had everything and that he lost everything. And in all actuality, he threw everything away. And that Chris is in a unit called a pod, and that 17 men are in the pod, and that they're mostly handicapped. And the reason why they're at where they're at is because it's close to the infirmary, which is medical in prison. And that many of them are in wheelchairs. And some of them have been in there since they were children practically. They went from the juvenile institution on over to the adult institution. And some of them committed these crimes when they were much, much younger. And most of the inmates do not talk about their crimes. And that some of them are there for 8 weeks just for observation before they move them, or what you call classify them. She didn't put that in the book, but I just know that from my brother being in prison his whole life. That's where people go when they're trying to figure out where they're going to classify them at and what pod they're going to put them in for their future. And so Chris says he doesn't talk about his crimes to anyone, only his sister and one friend, and recently the author. And that there is a guy there that did a murdered and kidnapped Jake Patterson, and he received 2 life sentences. I think that's the guy that killed the parents and kidnapped the daughter. And then they caught him, and I think he got his 2 life sentences on murdering her parents of the girl he kidnapped. And Chris hopes to cross paths with him one day because he's only 21 years old, and he feels like he has so much time to think about what he did. And Jake ended up in the cell right next to him. So Christopher hopes that he'll be able to reach out to him. And Christopher is in his cell for most of the day. He does get recreational time outside when the weather is good. He goes outside for 40 minutes. He likes to play basketball, and he likes for the sun to just hit his face and to enjoy a breath of fresh air. And that at 6:45 they get breakfast, lunch is at 11:30, and dinner is at 3:30. They do not get any snacks, and commissary they get to go to once every 2 weeks. And that one of the hardest things in prison is no privacy, and there's no freedom in prison. And that for holidays and birthdays, he could possibly purchase a card to send out. But he says that he has lost the knowledge of what things cost outside of prison, and that he misses washing a car and mowing the lawn and feeling the rain or snow hit his skin. And that Christmas of 2018 was very hard for Chris, and that it was extremely lonely. And most of the days is spent reading or writing people back. And he receives enormous amounts of mail, which he says most of it he throws away, but he does respond to some. And he says that he has no desire to get involved with the love letters. And he tries to stay busy, so he does not have time to think about what he's done, I guess. He doesn't say why. He says he tries to stay busy so he will not think about time. But it's the nights that are so lonely. And he has not received any mail from Nikki that he knows of, and he hopes that he won't. And he hopes that she was able to find peace and move on with her life. And however He would like her to know that he is sorry that she lost her job and that she had to move. Well, your wife lost her life and so did your children. So I think that you don't need to apologize to the catalyst of it. And let's see. He spends a lot of time looking out his window and reminiscing of what was. And he can't believe what he had wasn't enough. And that he would give anything to get it all back. And on June 22nd of this year, Ronnie was able to visit Chris for the first time since he confessed to the murders. And Ronnie had a meeting in Chicago, so his boss told him to just take that opportunity to go see his son in Wisconsin. And that Chris and Ronnie were just super happy about this meeting. They were ecstatic. They spent 3 hours together in a face-to-face meeting. And that when you go to visit someone in this prison particularly, you can bring $20 in coins so they can eat out of the vending machine. And so this is what Ronnie did. And he got Christopher a hamburger, a pack of Doritos, a Red Mountain Dew, which is evidently Chris's favorite. I think that's the code red. A Kit Kat bar, a Milky Way bar, a Nestle's Crunch, and Chris devoured all of it. And when the 3 hours were over, the guards told them that their time was up. And Ronnie says he walked out, that they kept it together during the meeting, but Ronnie says he walked out of the building and he just broke down and completely lost it. It also says that on June 25th of this year in 2019, that the lawyers for Frank and Sandy Rusek called Christopher and discussed the probate with him. And Christopher signed everything over to the Ruseks. And that the Ruseks came to the phone and said, "Thank you, Christopher." And supposedly Chris said, "You're welcome and I love you guys." And allegedly Frank said back, "Love you." And that Chris said he went back to his cell and cried and cried and cried because he never thought he would hear those words from them again. And that it just brought back to his mind the senseless thing he did. And then the end of the chapter is that it's all very sad to see where he has come from and where he is now. And that many would say that he deserves less. And however, if he was oppressed by a dark spirit, does he deserve another chance? And she said he's not seeking an appeal right now. And she asks the reader, should he? And she says that she will leave it up to us as the reader to answer. And Ronnie, Cindy recently received Chris's wallet and that there was $13 in it. And so she wonders if you think this is a coincidence, seeing as the murders happened on August 13th. And that is how she ends the chapter. And then chapter 27 is Christopher's true and final confession. And I will get on that right now while this video is uploading. I will try to sum that down. This is a very long chapter. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is probably the longest chapter I've had so far. So that one will be next. And then we can get to the good stuff, you guys, where I'm not just giving you the book. I cannot wait to give you my opinion and my story and all of that. So, looking forward to it. Again, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to go live. And I know that I can go live by downloading some kind of software, you guys. But I don't have that much storage on my phone. I have to keep my phone clear so I can record these videos. And then I'll, if I don't have enough space for the videos, then they'll just stop. And unfortunately, I can't put it on my phone because my phone broke and I didn't have insurance on it. So I have to send it off to Apple. So I'm using like this janky old tiny little Moto phone right now. And any other device I have doesn't have enough storage on it because I have my nails, the pictures of all the nails that I sell. I have them actually on hands and I post them on Facebook. And I was also thinking about creating a Facebook group for this page. What do you guys think? Should I create a Mama Beauties Facebook group? Would you guys want to be in a Facebook group? That way we could communicate there and talk back and forth. Maybe I could do a giveaway there as well, but we'll see. Just let me know what you think. Thank you. Bye.